All right. We are back once again. This time you can see our really great, ugly faces. We are the Concord Outlaws, and this is the Concord Outlaws podcast live edition. You get to see us live and in person for the first time ever, maybe the last time ever, depending on how you people like this. I am Cody. You can call me the phenomenal K-Dog, the phenomenal one. Who knows? I like AJ Styles. That's all I'm going to say. You two can introduce yourselves because I don't want to do that. I'm a crappy host.
My name is Randall. I am the phenomenal show-off. You can figure that out.
This has nothing to do with AJ Styles, by the way.
And I'm James. You can call me the phenomenal C-Nation.
It doesn't make any sense with AJ Styles and John Cena, but hey, listen.
I mean, it is what it is.
It's a nickname, whatever. we don't expect too much from us, just saying. So, today's couple topics we're gonna be going over. We made like 3 podcasts for WrestleMania, but I lack in sending files, and that guy over there, Randall / the phenomenal show off. We have to get up to edit because I suck at editing, but hopefully those will be up soon. Don't know how soon. Check for Twitter on the Concord Outlaws Twitter page at Concord Outlaws, both capital C and capital O for Concord and Outlaws. You can also follow us on Facebook at Concord Outlaws Wrestling. Is that it?
Yeah, Concord Outlaws Wrestling.com. As you can see,
yeah, look at that beautiful
flag behind me.
If any of you were down in Orlando for WrestleMania, we had that flag. Absolutely nobody asked about it. So I feel like we did a great job of promoting ourselves.
Yeah, we did.
But it's a cool flag. So self-promotion, anytime we go somewhere, I think we're going to have to bring that for self-promotion. But so today's topic, since this is the first time we've kind of shown everybody and kind of streamed, I guess, we'll go with what we enjoyed most about WrestleMania week. We were there for 6 days from Thursday through the following Wednesday. So we did everything but NXT. Those were sold out before you even had a chance to really think about what we wanted to go to. But we can go with what we enjoyed the most out of WrestleMania week, and maybe some predictions on upcoming pay-per-views or upcoming events or anything like that. So, no matter who starts, I guess we'll start with the phenomenal show-off. What did you enjoy most about WrestleMania week, WrestleMania itself, and your overall experience of it?
I would say the greatest part about WrestleMania was just the atmosphere. It was really cool being interviewed for first the Fox, I think it's 1340 up in the Mid-Atlantic, and then also by WWE Germany in the same day when we went to Access. That was really cool. But I think just the atmosphere of just being at WrestleMania and being with a bunch of people like you who enjoy wrestling or basically make it life, and just being there witnessing the Hardys coming back, which was pretty cool. I don't think there's a single event that I would say it was my favorite, but overall we did get to witness Kalisto before being thrown in the trash can, so rest in peace to him. But so yeah, that's about it.
Very nice. Yeah, I definitely agree with most of everything you just said. Kalisto, wherever you're at, I met you at Access. Hope you're doing great, buddy. Me and you were friends after I mistakenly called you Sin Cara. C-Nation, the man.
Yeah.
Your turn. What do you think? What's your opinions?
So I was sick the entire week because one of our friends decided to bring his sickness down with him. And so My favorite thing, I mean, I agree, the experience, the atmosphere, being in one location with people from 62 other countries um, was phenomenal. And then
Sounds like
even
that's
though
going
I
to be a
was,
key word.
and even though I wasn't feeling great, the Hardys coming back, like we kind of all knew it was set up, but we didn't think it was going to happen that night. And so it was a moment where I didn't care how sick I was. I was going to jump up and celebrate and mark out. And then I am a big John Cena fan, so to see that Nikki Bella, John Cena thing, the proposal kind of was special, I guess you could say.
Stage.
I know a lot of people didn't like it. They felt like it was pushed upon us, but I mean, it was a cool moment that Cena and Nikki Bella fans will probably remember in the rest of their life. And then, yeah, that's about it.
Oh, very well, very nice. I don't really want to get into the John Cena thing with proposing to Nikki. I have strong feelings on that.
Listen, I cried when that happened, okay?
Yeah, I know. You're over there tearing up.
But this was a dude who fell asleep during Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton's match. So, we can't really trust this guy.
Yeah, you got a good point there. So as for me, not to toot my own horn or make me feel above anybody that's a part of this group or anything in general. Out of all 5 of us, the other 2 are at work, so that's why they're not here. The losers, they have work. Ooh. Out of all 5 of us, I guess I'm the one that has been following wrestling the longest ever since I was like 2 weeks old. I remember just my grandparents coming over, my great-grandfathers here on his lap watching Monday Night Raw. And then I guess whenever I started growing up, we switched back and forth during the Monday Night Wars between Raw and Monday Nitro, and Sting was my favorite wrestler, and I was scared to death of The Undertaker. How that makes sense, I don't know. So, whenever you are a big wrestling fan, you follow wrestling for so long, you hear that one word that gets you excited no matter what, and it's WrestleMania. So the closest I ever came to WrestleMania was 27 in Atlanta. What Culture Pro Wrestling did a great video on the things that went wrong with WrestleMania 27, and thank God I didn't go. After watching the show and learning about everything, it was not the greatest in the world. But go to this year, 33, just in general, was just probably the greatest rush ever. I've been to wrestling events for years, so it wasn't nothing new going to a WWE event, but it was just the facet of going to a WrestleMania. It was just the pageantry of WrestleMania is what it is, and every little thing they say about it, the cliches and all that good stuff, it's true because it really is the greatest live entertainment show in history. It is kind of hard to choose one specific point that I view as the best moment. Going to Access was really cool. And anybody that says one session can do you good is lying, because you need more than one session to be able to do everything, get a few autographs, and just enjoy yourself, because Access is just awesome. The Superstore is
bring a lot of money.
Probably the most torturous thing to go to, because I wanted to buy so much and I couldn't. Yeah. But I bought quite a bit. But I that's where I wish I brought like $8,000, because $3,000 of it would have gone to the Superstore. I would have single-handedly paid for WWE's like travel costs or something. Maybe not. That's going too far. But yeah.
So one thing about that Superstore, real quick, WWE. Where are the 4X shirts at? Come on now, you got big guys like me who go to the Superstore, and we want some 4X shirts. I had to buy my shirts online and wait till I got home to wear them. So, thanks, WWE.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
And then also make sure you tell your bank that you're going out of your state, or else you might try to buy something and it be declined, like it happened to our friend Dylan.
Yes, it did happen to him during checkout time too. That was the worst part. But yeah, and then Saturday was really cool. That's when we went to Access. Saturday night was really cool because we chilled out at the Villa. We stayed in the Villa because we're hippies. I liked it for the fact that we were about 20 minutes out of Orlando, and we were out of where all the people were staying at, so it wasn't that bad. But we just relaxed at the Villa, watched NXT on the network. If anybody that's staying in Kissimmee, Florida, that stays in or rents out villas at Lake Berkeley Resort, fix the Wi-Fi. That's just the only thing I ask, because that Wi-Fi was a little torturous.
Yeah.
But ordered pizza that night at 7:30. Didn't get until 9:30. That's probably our fault because it was a Saturday night and it's in Orlando. What were we thinking? Probably the best part about Saturday night, not Saturday, but Saturday night, was watching South Carolina play in the Final Four. And what happened? What happened? C Nation. What happened? What happened with that?
Well, see, what happened was we we pulled the Washington Capitals, and
all right, we're not going there.
We lost.
I'm not going there today.
We lost.
I'm still trying to get. I still have strong feelings about that. That's for a different show.
We're not rated R yet. We can't have Cody pronounce his feelings.
Anyways, yes. Z Nation is a South Carolina fan, so I had to bring that up. But we just stayed at the Villa, Saturday night, just watched NXT, stuff like that. And it didn't hit me because I guess I'm not like the father of the group, but I wanted everything to go perfectly to plan, and we were going to hit tailgate.
You're the father of the group.
Okay, all right. That's what Dylan calls me too, so maybe that's true. I'm only 21. Everybody else is like 20 or 19, so it's weird. But WrestleMania Day came, and I just wanted to make sure we had a cooler, we had everything packed, ready to go. We were going to tailgate at the stadium, hang our flags up, and just relax for a few hours, eat some or grill out, and then go in, experience the ultimate thrill ride, as they called it. And I love how we get to the stadium. We park the second row from basically where the exit of the parking lot is, so we are right there at the stadium. It was awesome. We forget the ice, So had to make a nice little, about a 5-minute walk. It wasn't that far.
3-mile walk.
It was not a 3-mile walk. Stop.
It felt like a 3-mile walk.
Well, maybe if you exercise once in a while, you'll be fine.
Listen now.
Sorry, we get a little rough on here. But it marked a little. It had a little hike. You get some ice and some alcohol.
It melted by the time we got back.
Oh, it didn't. One bag didn't. The other bag was okay. I was just making sure that my alcohol was cold. That's all I cared about. And like I said, I don't want to pinpoint one moment. The coolest part probably about that day was the WWE Germany guy. I like to talk with my hands. I'm sorry. Do my yoga. Was the WWE Germany guy walking through our parking lot, and I noticed him like that. I was like, wait a minute. I know who you are. I was like, WWE Germany guy. And he was like, looking around like,
sweating in his suit.
Dude is wearing a suit in 90-degree heat. And I didn't. I don't know how he did it. I hope he had like 4 different suits and like a shower to run to every 15 minutes because, yeah, I was insane. But he kind of recognized us. At least I think maybe he recognized us. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. And got a quick picture of him, so that was pretty cool. But, WrestleMania itself, like I said, was awesome. Everything about it was awesome except for maybe the last match of the evening. We're not going to get into that. That's another show. My strong feelings of being let out. But that was really cool. The Raw after Mania, probably I would say the Raw after Mania was the best part because that's that crowd was awesome. That crowd was awesome. And apparently they did not bleep out anything we said.
I don't think so.
At least I watched it on Hulu and it didn't. So
that crowd at Raw after Mania crowd was one of the best crowds I've ever experienced. Like, you watch it on TV every year and you're like, oh, okay, whatever. But when you're live and you see the crowd and you see the antics that they are doing and the chants, and it's louder than maybe WrestleMania itself because it's a smaller building. It's pretty fun. And I mean, you get people from England and the European countries where wrestling might be a little bit bigger than it is over here still.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I will say one thing. We'll say one thing. There were two things about that crowd that got on my nerves. First off, that Sheamus and Cesaro chant.
That was the best chant.
Okay, hold on. First of all, like, they didn't even do that chant until last Monday when they were in England or wherever they were. Of course, it had to be the Europeans that started the chant, so those are going to be the only people that really carried it over.
And then the stupid beach balls.
Oh, but the
Beach Ball Mania, man.
Beach Ball Mania.
Sorry, guys. I just was not thrilled at all. It took away from the show. There was a match that was really just passed over by the crowd. At least I felt there. And I know there were a couple people who were tweeting as well that the Mustafa Ali match. Granted, the cruiserweights are boring, but Mustafa Ali is one of the greatest, I think, in-ring performers in Raw. But his entire match, his match was overdrawn by a beach ball. Do you understand how mad that must make an entertainer feel?
Did you understand how over Chris Jericho made Beach Ball Mania?
Yeah, that's what that's what I was getting ready to say. Chris Jericho single-handedly just made that bigger than what it probably would have and could have and should have been because they acknowledged it. But see, I can understand that about the whole entertainer thing, and you're out there wrestling and you're wanting the crowd to focus on you and you're trying to work yourself as a heel in the face. I understand that. But it's a Raw after Mania, man. And that is the most fun of a crowd you're going to get out of probably the whole year, except for maybe a Chicago crowd or a Boston crowd, possibly an LA crowd. So the fact that there was so much going on, like when I go to a regular Raw, I'm not expecting that. I'm hoping that the crowd will be hot and it'll be wild and we can have some good chants. But 7 times out of 10, you're not really going to get that. So for the fact that this crowd was letting loose, it was awesome. They were on fire. I didn't mind it because I was like, man, this is awesome. So.
Yeah, I agree. See, in a way, I mean, I feel like the fans have a right to do what they want. They paid hard money for those tickets. You know, they're paying $200, $300 for those tickets.
$600 for 5 of us in the nosebleeds, by the way.
So, you know, they're going to want to have fun. I think that the difference is the what to expect in a crowd in the United States is different than what they expect in a crowd in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
The scenes are different. So when you mix the two fan bases together, some are going to like it, some won't. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
I think that I guess surprised me a little bit was what made it cool is the SmackDown crowd, because this is the first WrestleMania post-draft. This is the first SmackDown Live ever, basically, that has happened after Mania. So now that's going to be a thing, is Raw after Mania, SmackDown after Mania. That it wouldn't be sold out, I mean, yeah, maybe that's a stupid thing because you're like, duh, there are people going to stay there for that. B, I didn't think it was going to be as good of a crowd as Monday, and it probably wasn't. It wasn't as good, but it was a lot better than I expected, and I was really surprised about that. Beach Ball Mania 2 happened, which was even better. A lot more excited over the Ty Dillinger debut, and definitely the Shinsuke Nakamura debut.
Which,
I have video.
Let me tell you, being there live for Nakamura was really awkward when you go back and excuse me, watch it on TV, because on TV they just show Nakamura, then they went to commercial. But while you're there live, Dolph Ziggler comes out, challenges, says the main event will be Dolph Ziggler versus Nakamura. But that never shows on TV. And so on TV, when they're saying, oh, or like this past week when Dolph was like, you've never wrestled in the ring, I'm like, yes, he has. I was there live. He wrestled you, Dolph. But
I was so confused about that, because it seemed like that whole thing went on a lot longer than it did. And I'm like, yeah, there's no way that didn't make television. So whenever the tag match with Orton, Harper against Rowan and Bray, I'm like, oh crap, there's only like 5 minutes left in here. I mean, is SmackDown going to go over? I mean, how is this going to work? Because they said, Dolph said, you're going to face me in the main event. And I was like, okay, main event of SmackDown, pretty cool. And they had the tag team match and then went straight to 205 Live. And I'm like, they just joked us. I don't like that.
But the match did go on, and unfortunately the wannabe Michael Jackson won. But, you know.
Oh,
sir.
Shots fired.
Sir.
All right.
Sir.
We could talk about that when we talk about Backlash. But
oh, gosh, yes.
Which will probably be a perfect segue to go on and leave WrestleMania in the past. So I'll ask this question. What do you guys, seeing basically what the card's going to be, what are you guys looking forward to? One, for NXT TakeOver, if you guys have kept up with NXT, or two, from Backlash itself.
Yeah, you can go ahead, C Nation.
So I haven't been really following SmackDown that much due to I work Tuesday nights, so I can't really watch it. But the one match that I am really looking forward to is the Randy Orton Jinder Mahal match. I am one to say that I don't think Jinder deserved the push he got. I understand the business side of it, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. And it's kept me interested in the match. You know, the Bollywood boys, what are they going to do? Will Jinder
they're known as the Singh brothers now?
Whatever.
Whatever.
What will happen? Will they interfere? Will Orton win? It was kind of weird having Bray Wyatt leave for Raw halfway through like that feud, because Backlash was supposed to be Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton fighting for the belt again, and then it kind of felt rushed to move Jinder Mahal up. And then my favorite superstar on the current roster is Kevin Owens, so it'll be interesting to see how the Kevin Owens AJ Styles match will run. It seems like AJ Styles fights all my favorite guys, so I can never like AJ Styles. He fights Cena, he fights Bray Wyatt, he fights all my guys, and I mean, I appreciate Styles in the ring, but I really don't want to see him beat Kevin Owens. And then I think Charlotte will win will beat Naomi. I think she's fighting Naomi.
That's not a match if you understand the card. It's actually a 6-woman tag match. The Welcoming Committee, which if you haven't watched, it's Tamina, Natalia, and Carmella with the 4th woman in Ellsworth versus Charlotte, Naomi, and Becky. Why this is a match, I have no idea. But it is what it is. Which brings me, you can view my Backlash opinions on the channel called The Phenomenal Show Off, where it's just me when these goons can't do podcasts with me. I have my own. So, Yeah.
Yeah, they don't like to branch off. They don't like joining group activities.
But so thank you there, C Nation. We'll go over there to Cody.
Damn right you will.
We'll have to edit that out.
That's still PG. That's still PG.
Yeah. Go ahead with your opinion.
Well, I am not, nor ever will be, a fan of Jinder Mahal.
Did you just call him Jack off?
Yes, I did. Oh man, I don't like him. I never have liked him, and it has nothing to do with him being, if he's religious, whatever religious he is, or just being different. Everybody's different in the WWE, so it has nothing to do with that. Odd SmackDown Live for changing up the scenery a little bit, making it a little more interesting with creating new stars, putting them on the pushing my gender. Telling me that this guy you guys brought in after the draft, who has been jobbing to everybody, all of a sudden just figured out how to wrestle and can beat all the top stars.
Hey, don't forget the steroids.
If that's the case, James Ellsworth needs to be competing for the WWE Universal title or World title as well. Let's be real. And it's a double-edged sword because while I hate that Jinder is getting this title push or push in general, I hate that, but I love the Breezango thing. I think that the SmackDown, I think the tag team division really on both shows is still really thin. I mean, even if Hardy's and the Revival and so on and so forth, SmackDown's got Breezango and they got Alpha still, and they got the New Day coming out. It's still, to me, still thin, and I know it's really hard to continuously call up people from NXT or for you to create new tag teams. It's hard, and I know that organically, I like when WWE just kind of puts two guys together to see if it'll work, like Rhino and Slater, or
Sheamus and Cesaro. Yeah,
exactly. So I think it's cool that they're getting a shot at the tag team titles. I would like to see them win, only because Usos have had the titles for a little bit, not as long. They've had it longer, I think, than Alpha. But for the past 3 or 4 years, that's all we've ever seen is the Usos and New Day. So I would like to see a new tag team kind of hold the titles for a little while and build up their brand to see if they can really, truly, legitimately be tag team champions and a tag team in general. The SmackDown Women's Division is a mess, in my opinion, a strong mess. They really had something going there after the draft. It was really good. And then after their shakeup, it's not the same. And I like Charlotte. I've always liked Charlotte, but she's always been on Raw, so I've always better than her. But it's the only one I'm really rooting for on SmackDown, but it's really hard because she is so much better than everybody else. And Naomi is doing great as a champion. She's doing great as a wrestler. She's really proven me wrong as a competitor and as a performer and as a champion. And I'm about that. I really do like her. Charlotte is just above and ahead of everybody else. So that attack.
We're gonna just break real quick. C Nation has to leave. As you can tell, he's heading off to work here soon. That or his internet died. I'm gonna say it's both. But so now it's just me and Cody, which means the show gets better. But
yeah, man.
I'll give my opinion on Backlash. First off, I've already done a full sort of, it was about an hour and a half long podcast by myself on Backlash. So go watch that. So I'll give basically a brief summary for what I'm looking for first from NXT, because y'all both avoided that question, which I understand because
Oh,
someone
I
watches.
actually didn't even know that you asked that. That's my fault. I didn't even know
You're
that.
fine. You're fine. So what I was looking forward to was the Fatal 4-Way women's match, which now might be a triple threat because they stopped promoting Ember Moon. Apparently her injury is actually really serious. Which if that's the case, I see Asuka winning. Though I could go anyway as long as Nikki Cross doesn't win the title, because as a singles person, she's boring as all get out. But I really would like Ruby Riott to win it. She's really become one of my favorites on the NXT women's side. And then other than that, I think it would just be interesting. One, for both shows to be in Chicago. A dream booking moment that I thought of was after Atami sort of made a tweet saying, I can't wait to hit my GTS and
Yeah, I did see
in
that.
Chicago.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
So that led a lot of people to either one speculate that Atami wins the title from Bobby Roode, which I wouldn't mind. He's long deserved it, especially after all his injuries. He's put in a lot of work. But they're saying that since no word has come out from Dana White about CM Punk's next actual fight, I thought it was supposed to be at 212, but I think it actually got canceled.
Yeah.
Or moved back. But there's a lot of people saying.
I never saw because I usually go on Wikipedia or something like that to kind of look at the fight card, and like a month ago, I didn't even see his name on there. So I think that might have been kind of like a spoof that somebody did, or maybe they did announce it and they retracted it. I don't know, but
So there's a lot of people saying Hideo. I was about to call him Kenta. That's what I know him as, but
right, yeah.
Hideo wins it by hitting the GTS, and then CM Punk comes to NXT and sort of challenges. It probably won't happen, to be honest, but that's dream booking someone came up with. We can dream, can't we? We can dream, can't we?
Everybody can dream, yeah.
But Backlash itself, to me, I think if you watch wrestling as long as me or Cody have, and maybe other people who watch it, if you're just new, you're starting to figure out that between WrestleMania and SummerSlam, those summer months, wrestling really gets somewhat repetitive and there's really no build up. And then they start building up towards the end of July into August. And so I feel the same is going through here. So I kind of expected this sort of lull and progression. But I didn't think it would get this bad. I understand SmackDown's the land of opportunity, but Jinder Mahal. So when he got the push, I was like, why? We got Sami Zayn. He deserves it. He's been on the main roster for close to 2 years now.
Oh, yeah.
Been in WWE for 4 to 5 and really has only had one title run, and that lasted for like a whole month before Kevin Owens came and took it from him. And so I think the dude's put in work. I think he deserves a title run. And so when Mahal got it, and then the Singh brothers joined them, I was like, oh, God, this is another Muhammad Hassan. And so I'm going to always make that comparison because I think they're giving Jinder the push Muhammad would have got if the whole terrorist thing didn't happen. I don't understand why they would even do that storyline. But, I mean, we are talking about Vince McMahon, who names a pay-per-view
Great Balls of Fire.
Great Balls of Fire. But so I would say Jinder has really, really held his own. He needs to work on that camel clutch slam, though. He doesn't get enough height on it. Other than that, I think he's playing the heel role perfectly. And the only thing I would have against him being a champion is that it looks like they're going to use the Singh brothers the same way they used J&J Security when Seth Rollins had the title. And so if they do it that way, I was bored when Rollins had it and did it that way. So I feel it will take away. But I read that Orton will retain so that him and Styles can meet at SummerSlam for the title, and it will finally be Styles' one-on-one rematch, which would be interesting. But other than that, I mean, there's really no big match. I mean, I feel Baron and Sammy, I think, are being really, really wasted in their talent with them just not fighting for championships. But that match should entertain. The women's match makes no sense to me. I kind of expected after Alexa won the title on Raw that Charlotte would do the same thing on SmackDown, to switch brands and take the title. But I guess they're holding that off till later. And then, I mean, the only match I'm really excited for is Ziggler Nakamura. Sadly, I'm gonna have to prepare myself for defeat in that one. But
Come on now, you're a Ziggler fan. You should be used to you losing by now.
Because, you know, wrestling fans don't know what true greatness is and would rather a song and a violin and funky entrance to win out over pure wrestling. But, you know, it is what it is. You WWE fans, WWE fans can like what you want. But we'll move on so Cody doesn't get bleeped out and kicked us off of YouTube. But so I would say, let's just say, if you could book up to SummerSlam, which is 100 days from today, how would you book up to SummerSlam?
That's a very interesting question. Before I hit on that, I'll go back and just use for a couple seconds and just hit on Backlash. I'm looking forward to the Owens Styles match. I think that'll be a better match than expected. Yes, I'm an AJ mark, so I want AJ to win no matter what match he's in, even if it makes sense or doesn't. That's just, you know, if you're a fan of somebody, you want them to win no matter what. I just cannot get into Jinder versus Orton. I do expect Orton to win. It's not really a match that I think will shock us unless, you know, WWE does pull something out of their hat. The 6 women's tag, like I said, it's just the creative department with that one dropped the ball, in my opinion, on that whole aspect of it. With Dolphin and Nakamura, I do expect Nakamura to win. Well, you know, when you're the king of strong style, you got to show it up to anybody, including a show off. Which the only thing he's been showing off the past 8 months is this loss record, just saying. And for you need to learn losing because all your freaking teams win. So you need to learn losing once in a while. Come on now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't help
Come on now.
That Boston is the city of champions, unlike the losing city of Washington, D.C., which tonight at 8 o'clock, the Boston Celtics will knock out the Washington Capitals from the playoffs.
Wizards, fool. Come on now.
Wizards. Oh, I'm sorry.
Capitals lost 3 days ago now, or 2 days ago. Listen, the Bullets/Wizards have a championship. The Redskins have 3. That's the only people I care about. I'm not worried about.
We have like 10 in the last 20 years, but it's okay.
Hey, listen, championships are championships. It's okay. I'd rather not be an Eagles fan because you don't know what a championship is.
We can agree on that one.
The Eagles are the Capitals of the NFL. But anyways, Backlash in general, I think will be an okay pay-per-view. I'm hoping it'll surprise us a little bit more than I'm expecting. As far as booking up to SummerSlam, it's a really tough one because just the creative direction is so skewed a little bit that it's kind of hard to see what will happen by then. I think a Brock versus Braun match will happen at SummerSlam since Braun's been injured, is going to be injured for the next couple months. I do think AJ versus Orton for the title will happen. That'll be AJ's one-on-one match. That would be a very good match to see drawn out for a long match, not a couple minutes. unless a new star comes up, I really can't call it the SmackDown Women's Championship scene unless Charlotte wins it by then or has it and just retains it. The Raw Women's Division, I would love to see a triple threat or a fatal four-way between no, I'll go with the triple threat between Sasha, Bayley, and Alexa. I think that'd be really good, a really good match. The Raw Tag Team titles, I think the Hardys will lose it by then. If not, they'll lose it at SummerSlam. I hope they're broken by then, or if they lose it at SummerSlam, it helps them become broken. That'd be really cool. Either the Sheamus and Cesaro, or I think what will happen is either one-on-one or tag team versus tag team, or maybe a triple threat elimination match, something to that effect, where I think Enzo and Cass will be in it, maybe Sheamus and Cesaro and the Hardys for sure, and I think Enzo and Cass will win those titles by then. One thing that just really bugs me about WWE in the past year, and they usually don't do this a lot, is they give away title changes for free on free television, like Sasha Banks winning it, two times on Raw? Two times on Raw.
Something like that.
Which one of them we went to, so that was pretty cool to see it live in person. But at the same time, I hate the fact that they did it, because those title changes are meant for pay-per-views. One thing that WWE continuously put in our faces, especially if you watch the Monday Night Wars and if you watch anything, like, that's one of my biggest things that I like to know. Okay, 3 times. That I like to read upon is Monday Night War stuff, and WWE continuously loves to put in the face of WCW fans. Or one of the downfalls of WCW was when Goldberg beat Hogan on Nitro in July of '98, and they're like, "Why'd you do that on free television? You could have done that on a pay-per-view and draw huge money." Great, I actually agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. I know the fact that that was in the Georgia Dome. It was a stadium, so you needed those ticket sales, and they got over 40,000 people in there, which is really good. And it created a lot of hype, which was awesome. But yeah, if they wait until Bash at the Beach, 3 weeks down the road, could have been a lot more successful. Absolutely. Probably would have been the biggest drawn pay-per-view in WCW history. So if you follow that narrative, if you say that narrative, why don't you follow it? Because Sasha's won the title 3 times on Raw. Bayley's won the title once on Raw. 2015 or 2016, Roman Reigns won the WWE World title on a Raw. So I don't understand, and Alexa Bliss won the title on Raw. So I don't get why we have to keep changing titles on free television. That doesn't make any sense to me, business aspect or creative aspect. Yes, it does create a little bit more entertainment, and it makes you want to tune in every week because you don't know what's going to happen. At the same time, that doesn't draw money to me. Draw money on a pay-per-view. I think Bayley should have won the women's title at WrestleMania. It would have been a huge pop. It would have been a great reaction. It would have been great. So I don't get why they do these things that they do. So hopefully by then the Hardys may lose those titles then, and they'll be broken, stuff like that. As far as like the one-on-one matches that really don't have any significance on titles, like in the past, it's been Brock versus Punk, 2013. I think last year we had, 2 years ago we had Brock versus Taker. I don't really know what would be the big match that's for a non-title. I don't know. I really can't really explain that. Maybe James Ellsworth versus Jinder Mahal for Jobber of the Year. I don't think we'll see a Becky Lynch versus a James Ellsworth match at SummerSlam. At least I hope not. Maybe that'd be a SmackDown thing or a SmackDown pay-per-view thing. I think we will see by then either new champions, tag champions for SmackDown. Either it's Breezango, maybe Alpha will win it again, or somebody new. And I think that they will retain I really don't know what team. I really can't figure that out. But I think whoever will win it by SummerSlam will keep it after SummerSlam. I wonder if Rusev will win the U.S. title then, or if he'll be placed in a main event spot or win a Money in the Bank contract. That'd be interesting to see. I think he deserves that. I would love to see Rusev in a main event spot. He's worked really hard. He's been a really good heel for the company and worked really hard and really hasn't gotten much of a push. The biggest thing he had was his feud with Cena. Him versus Reigns was okay. it created some really funny moments, but it really wasn't as big to me than his Cena feud. So hopefully he will be in the main event picture by then. If it was up to me, I would love to see Miz regain the IC title. My opinion, I want to see Miz as Universal Champion. I really think his current run with his character has just been the best work he's done, I think, in his career. I've always liked The Miz, but I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just working with his wife, Maurice. He's been on fire the past year. And the Intercontinental title run he had in the feud with Ziggler, and I'm not a Ziggler fan, but I thought it was a really great feud. I thought they did that really well. His mic work is excellent. And
I think so. We all know Dolph Ziggler's mic work is the best.
Talking about The Miz. Let's be real. But I just feel like a world title run for Miz is needed for his run right now, because I don't think if they do, I think if they happen to give him a title run, a world title run, it won't be as good as it could be now. So that's really all I can think of, really. Like I said, I think Ambrose will probably have the title by then, and maybe Miz will win it. Maybe somebody different will win it. Maybe we'll see a Finn Balor Intercontinental title run. Who knows? That'd be interesting to see. Maybe a Seth Rollins Intercontinental title run.
All right, and so that's a lot of information to take in. Really good opinion. I'm going to go back to where you were talking about giving away free champions on our championships on free television. And while you were talking about that, the idea came in my head that maybe, and do I think this is right? Not really, but I mean, they got the network, and so pay-per-views really, I mean, they're not making money off of pay-per-views as they were, where no one's really paying $60 to watch pay-per-views, so there's no real reason to really go, and because no one's really going out buying pay-per-views. So but at the same time, I do see where, yes, Bayley winning the women's championship at Mania 1, that was one thing I was looking forward to, was her finally getting over that the sort of grabbing the brass ring, so to speak, as WWE, as JBL likes to say. But but I see some titles, like, I mean, I feel just in the women's division in general, they sort of had their big pop in early 2016 or 2015, I think, when Charlotte and them joined the roster. They had that big revolution, and then I think we've lost all that momentum. And I think putting them in six-pack challenges or fatal four-ways have really lowered our expectations of the women's division. But at the same time, I think there's certain titles like the IC title. As much as I dislike The Miz, I have to say he brought prestige back to it, and he's really done a good job working that title back up. Now they gave it to Dean, which, I mean, no one really – I'm not going to go as far as Miz didn't call Dean lazy, because I really don't know his work ethic. But Dean as a champion, just – I feel his character, his gimmick is always better chasing champions than being the champion. I don't think his sort of the way he wrestles really fits the mold of a WWE superstar. Back when he was in Combat Zone Wrestling, I mean, he's known for hardcore stuff. And I mean, if they brought back the Hardcore Championship and have Dean be that champion, I think he would work well. But I don't think we'll get that in a PG era WWE. But I see your point, and where pay-per-views are where title changes should happen. But I think their money comes from putting people in seats now, or at least most of it is. And so to get big promotions for Raws and, oh, Charlotte's going to fight so-and-so and defend her title, and a lot of people would then go to that show, or, oh, we want to promote so-and-so, this big-name star. Rumors have it Hulk Hogan's coming back, and they're going to really promote Hulk Hogan towards the going back to New Orleans and really have him be the host of WrestleMania again, which God forbid he misnames the stadium again. But
maybe he will, because it's going to be called the he may call it the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, because now there's 2 Mercedes-Benz dome type places.
But that's basically that question. I agree with you at the same time. I think business-wise, I don't think they really count on pay-per-views to make money anymore, because no one's spending $60 on them. And so most of their money comes from, I would say, merchandise and just general ticket sales. And so but building up to SummerSlam, it's a question. I mean, I've been thinking about it. I got an alert from ESPN, which I didn't even know they were still covering wrestling after Coach sort of backed out.
Yeah.
But they said 100 days away till SummerSlam. What would the main event be? Here's what our writers say. And I'm like, first off, why is ESPN covering this? What do their writers know about wrestling? But a lot of people, just reading that article real quick, a lot of people seem to think it'll be Braun versus Brock, or a triple threat with Brock, Braun, and Roman. And that was basically the majority opinion. And then one I found one dude who really stood out had AJ versus Orton main eventing, showing love to the blue brand, which I can see. I don't think will happen, because they're really trying to make Raw and it's dwindling ratings, the A show again. But and then there's one guy who stood out and said it would be Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles. And when I read this, I was like, how is this going to happen? They're on different brands. And so reading the description of why he thinks that'll happen is that at Money in the Bank, AJ wins it, and the rules aren't defined enough, and AJ finally gets traded, so to speak, to Raw after choosing to go after the Universal title rather than the heavyweight, which to me would be a bad decision.
Don't you think that at Money in the Bank they'll have? I don't know if it's still a SmackDown brand exclusive.
As far as I can tell, it's still just SmackDown exclusive. So
because I was getting ready to say, do you think that they would do a Money in the Bank for both titles like they did in the past? Because to me that would make more sense, because it would make more sense for it to be a split brand pay-per-view.
To me, that would make more sense. Maybe what they decide to do. I don't know if I think it's Extreme Rules. That's July's pay-per-view for Raw. I don't know if it'd probably be before Money in the Bank, but have sort of a Money in the Bank style match at Extreme Rules, or even if you want to do it the same way we had like Bray and Randy on Payback, sort of have a SmackDown match on the Raw Raw match on a SmackDown pay-per-view. Because to me, I think there should be 2 Money in the Banks, and honestly, I think the women should have one as well. But I kind of like that idea of having the Money in the Bank be cross-brand, to where if I win it, I can choose what brand's title I go for. And I feel that's the direction Vince probably will go, because he's been saying ever since the draft happened, and 3-4 months down the road, he realizes, hey, SmackDown's doing better than Raw. That's not what we wanted it to happen. We still wanted Raw to be big and be the A show. Why is SmackDown doing better? And then, of course, we realized that SmackDown was literally ran by AJ for 6 months until Cena came back. So there's been a lot of rumors about AJ being traded or being moved to Raw. They don't want to say trade. They don't want to say drafted, because they don't like the idea of a draft anymore. That's why they called it the Superstar Shakeup. But so that could be a direction to go. I don't think that'd be best for business, so to speak. I would just like Brock Lesnar not to have the title at SummerSlam. Building up. I mean, we got Extreme Rules in June. Great Balls of Fire at in July. And then it's SummerSlam, which, by the way, only in WWE is it acceptable to say Great Balls of Fire and not get looked at. But
No kidding.
So I think setting up Extreme Rules with Braun being out, I think it will be Roman. There's actually some that say Roman will actually challenge for the Intercontinental title against Miz. Which, oh God, I hope that doesn't happen. But
Be a Grand Slam champion.
and so if that does happen, which probably will, because Brock's nowhere to be found. So I think maybe at Extreme Rules, Roman goes after whoever the IC title is. And to me, it doesn't make sense to have him fight Ambrose because they're sort of still brothers while not being brothers. So I think Miz wins Monday night when he faces Dean for the IC title.
Mm-hmm.
And then they carry that with Roman going after Miz. I want to see Finn. I want to see Seth. They really have nowhere to go right now, and it's kind of sad to see Seth after 2 injuries just sort of drop to the mid card after his run as champion. So I want to see how he gets back. He might be in play. And then at Great Balls of Fire, I still expect Brock to face Braun if Braun's ready. If not, I've heard that maybe they drop Brock from appearing and to save him for SummerSlam until Braun's ready. But wouldn't it be great to have Braun Strowman beat Brock Lesnar with one arm? That I would. I don't know. I think they're building Braun to be this monster. I mean, beating Kalisto with one arm isn't impressive.
No, it's not.
So, I mean, beating Brock Lesnar with one arm, I think, would really seal Strowman. I think Strowman, with the work he's put in. I didn't like Strowman on the Wyatt family. I thought it was an odd pair up. But seeing him be by himself and what he can do by himself and how much he's actually improved since being drafted by himself is pretty interesting. I also would like to see Braun go against Bray. I think that'll be interesting. Though it looks like they're going in the direction of Finn versus Bray. So building the SummerSlam is one of those things that I asked the question, but I mean, I don't really have a plan. I don't know how and WWE changes so much. So, and I for one would keep up with everything that's going on. I mean, other than that, I don't know how else you can build. I mean, SmackDown wise, as long as Jinder doesn't have the title, I'll be okay.
Great try.
Maybe I would like to see AJ actually win the US title. Because I like AJ, and I definitely like AJ a lot more than Kevin Owens. So plus I feel like we've seen the whole face of America anti-American heel role done so much. I mean, we've seen it by Rusev in the past. So I do expect to see Rusev at Backlash. I think he comes back at Backlash and interrupts in some way, shape, or form, or comes back. The women's division, I mean, I like Naomi. I think her run has been decent. It's not the worst, but I mean, it could be better. But honestly, Charlotte deserves the title.
I don't think the SmackDown Women's Division can only get better if Charlotte does have the title. I mean,
and unless, I mean, the only way I feel that they can make it better is if Sasha moves or they bring up Asuka to, or even doing both. I think because Raw's women division, they have Alexa, they have Sasha, they have Bailey, they have Dana Brooke, they got Shamu.
Oh man.
Which is a story for a different
Oh
podcast.
man.
Sorry, for all those who watch, listen, are fans of Nia Jax, I'm sorry. No offense. That's just a group name we have for. And so I had to bring. I mean, there's a story while we. I'll just tell it real quick. While we were at Mania,
This will be the
we all
last
know.
time that we're going to be on doing this, just so you know. I think he's going to kick us off right after he tells us the story.
While we were at Mania, and the women's match was going on. So by the way, we were. I completely forgot about this match because Mania was already like 5 hours at this
Oh
point.
my
Like
God,
the main
man.
card.
The main card was 5 and a half
so-
hours long. It was crazy.
And so I was like, so we got Undertaker and Roman, and when Bray and Randy came out, we knew that would be the main event. And so I was like, okay, so Bray and Randy end up, and I was like, well, I guess we'll expect to hear a bunch of boos. I was preparing for it. And then the women started coming out, and I was like, oh, that's right, we still have this match. And Nia Jax came out. I think she was like the third or fourth woman to come out. And so we were sitting there, my friend Dylan stands up and points in the direction of SeaWorld. It was like, hey, Shamu, SeaWorld's that way. And this woman in front of us just stood up and went off on him. And just went off on him. It was great.
The reason why she did it is because I'm going to sound like a douchebag saying this, and it is not intended to be in any disrespect, not body shaming nobody. This is just the way it is. She wasn't the skinniest person in the world. She wasn't the biggest person in the world, but she wasn't a toothpick. And I think when Dylan said that, she probably thought she was body shaming Nia, but she took like it was a personal offense to her.
Yeah,
and it's like, I'm like, okay, so if you call a guy ugly, am I supposed to say F you to that too? What if King Kong Bundy comes back from the dead or comes back and you say, oh wow, look at him? I'm like, oh yeah, F you. Talking about him like that.
But I mean, so yeah, while that happened, I mean, we won't stay too long on this story, but for the sake of not being kicked off of YouTube for political correctness, but
in the snowflake world.
So as I was saying, I mean, like Raw has the talent, and so I feel Sasha has no purpose on Raw because I mean the title will be. I mean, they got Mickie James as well. I forgot about her, but I feel down on SmackDown. I mean, you really got Naomi, Charlotte, Becky, and then you got a bunch of sort of mid-carder like Natalya, who I don't think will get another title run. She's okay in the ring. I mean, Nikki, which was their moneymaker, sort of once you get rid of Alexa Bliss and Mickie James, it's Nikki Bella. And she's gone for who knows how long. I would assume till after the marriage and the honeymoon and stuff. And so you really don't have any women out there who can match Raws. And so I feel bringing Sasha down, bringing Asuka up, and they might have to wait till SummerSlam because I feel Ember Moon will be the one who beats her. And so that might have to wait to take over. I guess they're doing another Brooklyn. So maybe bringing Asuka up. I mean, that's the only way I think to save SmackDown. Other than just plain out handing Charlotte the title. Tag team wise, SmackDown. I feel again like Cody said, the tag team for both divisions really they're thin, but I think Raw has the advantage, especially after you add the Revival to Raw, you add Slater and Rhino, so you got your mid-card people until the Revival are sort of built. I mean, and then down on SmackDown, I mean, you got Breezango, which isn't the worst tag team in the world. They draw and they bring money, so I understand why pushing them. You got the Usos, which right now would be my favorite. I like them as heels. Then you got Alpha, and then the Ascension, and that's about it. So bringing maybe someone like DIY or Authors of Pain up at SummerSlam could be an interesting move to sort of build SmackDown back to the tag team that when they introduce the belts, giving them the Heath and Rhino. So other than that, unless there's anything else you want to talk about, I don't know what else to talk about. So,
well, I do have an interesting question, kind of going back a little bit to what you said about the live and what I've said about the free TV thing, giving things away and how people don't pay for pay-per-views and stuff like that. This past year's WrestleMania was the most watched in history. And from my perspective, I know that whenever I'm going to watch a Braves game over here because I got the sports package. When I press 412, which is the sports package for Dish, it's got like a little plus thing next to it, which I guess if you press that, then it gives you all the local sports channels. If you don't press it, it'll have just the pay-per-views after that. And usually the first or second pay-per-view is either what WWE is putting on or what TNA has had on. And I've seen numerous occasions, actual pay-per-views from WWE, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, Fastlane, all that stuff. So I guess some providers still carry pay-per-views. So I guess there is those people that still pay the $50 to $60 for pay-per-views. No, yes. Nowhere near to what it's all it used to be. It was pay-per-view, but now you have the network. Yes, it's a lot cheaper. Yes, that's probably why it was a lot more and a lot more watched, because it's $9.99 for WrestleMania essentially, or free if it's your first month, as compared to $60. But in that aspect, I feel like you draw, because if you think about it, your big four, Rumble, Mania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series, those are your big money ones. But I really feel like nowadays it's the Rumble, Mania, and SummerSlam. Survivor Series is still the big four, but it's like fourth on the list, because to me they don't hype it up as much as they used to. SummerSlam's now a 3-day, 4-day weekend now, to where it's really built up. Royal Rumble now has an access, and they've got 2 days, 3 days. They built that up, like a weekend thing, not just Sunday. Mania, of course, is a week long. So they need to do something with Survivor Series to really make it and bring it back to what it used to be. Maybe that is, and they kind of do with the NXT thing, but I don't know. It just seems like SummerSlam, Rumble, and Mania are far and above more important than Survivor Series is. But anyways, drawing in an NXT show beside it, or having an access, or a few days that WWE will be there, will draw more people. They'll stay longer. They'll spend more money on merchandise and things in general. So you're going to get – WWE's going to draw money no matter what. But if you take a random Raw, you're not going to get as much of a buyout as you would a Rumble, a Mania, a Survivor Series, a SummerSlam. So – to me, it's like you're still drawing more money doing a title change on a pay-per-view as you would on a regular Raw or SmackDown or something like that. So maybe it's not as much as it used to be back in the day, because that's all you had was pay-per-view and cable television. But you still get a lot more buyout and a lot better reaction to things happening on pay-per-views, in my opinion, than you do on free television. And I know that dirt sheets are out there and spoilers are out there, so people will probably already expecting title changes and such to happen on pay-per-views. So I get that maybe doing it on a Raw or SmackDown will help prevent the exposure of the spoiling, because people are not expecting that to really happen on free television, so people may get more of a reaction to it. So yeah, you'll have that initial shock. Afterwards, you're like, man, why they do that when they've already done it before? They did it with just Sasha. Fine, no problem. Really shocking. Cool. but that they've done it with Sasha 3 times or 2 times, and then they've done it with Bayley, and then now they've done it with Alexa. It's like, okay, now I'm expecting a title change to happen on Raw. We haven't really had much of a title change, maybe not for the women's division, but to me in general, we haven't had too many title changes on a pay-per-view. Let's bring it back to where that's a prestigious type of thing. That's where your A-game shows is on a pay-per-view. You get more out of a pay-per-view. So that's just my thing. It's just I think that pay-per-views are meant for something, and not just for you to build off a feud and continue with 2 pay-per-views from now. It's to start and finish feuds or things like that. So I just think WWE needs to do a better job with things like that, keeping big changes, title changes. Not every single one of them, but quite just about every one of them on pay-per-views. To me, it gets a lot better reaction and buyout than it does on a regular live show.
And I mean, I can agree with that. While you were talking about Survivor Series, I had the thought, well, Survivor Series, at least in my perspective, the only real build they had was, okay, who does Undertaker come out to start his feud for Mania? Because that's a lot of times when it would happen. Or I know, was it 2 or 3 years ago? I forgot. It was a long time ago when Sting sort of made his debut at Survivor Series.
It was only 3 years ago this November.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I forgot. He has been in the ring for a long time, but you know.
Thank you for reminding me about that.
I mean, Bret Hart would blame that on Rollins, but
Bret Hart blames everything on Seth Rollins.
But
Nudes League, Seth Rollins' fault.
Before we first off, and if you unfortunately had the privilege to see Charlotte, I'm sorry. First off, I'm sorry. While we're on the topic now, because first off, whoever's leaking these things, I know a lot of people are praising you.
You need to stop it, man. That's not cool.
But to be honest, I mean they are private property. I know
to be fair,
a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, it's the private property. You don't need to do that. In my opinion, just don't do them. Just there's a lot when you're in that celebrity status, don't do it. Even if you
and I will agree with
stuff like that.
I will agree with that. If you do have them, to me, use a normal camera where it doesn't get saved in like a cloud, because that's where a lot of these leaks are coming from. Or people can hack into the Apple cloud or Android cloud, and so a lot of these are coming from that. But I mean, if you just look at Charlotte's, which will admit that I've seen them, didn't want to,
dirty boy,
but Charlotte's were from her NXT days after her first sort of plastic surgery, and I feel looking at them, I feel like they were just her sort of before and after type pictures to see what the difference was. Now she had another one to fix the problems that went with the first one, but yeah, just those pictures will give you nightmares. Just picture Ric Flair's body with Charlotte's face, and that's about what you get. Ew, no. But
picture that when you're looking at them.
We're gonna get off of this topic before YouTube. Want to put in a real quick thing while we've been talking about WrestleMania. You can buy it now.
Hey.
Best Buy has it. I know that's where I got mine at. I think Target sells it. It should be at FYE, though I spent 30 minutes looking for it, didn't find it.
The one thing that makes me upset about that is that Amazon Canada has got a thing going on where if you buy the DVD, they have collector's coins. And they have it for 4 different pay-per-views this year: WrestleMania, Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series, I think. And this one had the WrestleMania logo on the back and Undertaker's face on the front. Yeah. I'm like, why couldn't that be a U.S. thing? Because I would do that in a heartbeat. But, yeah, I got mine at Best Buy when it came out on the 9th. I was going to buy a Dylan one just because it was kind of a payback in a way, because he paid, I think he He picked up a copy of 2K17 for me last year.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do that, but he did. So I was going to repay him back and give him that DVD. But when I went to Best Buy that day, I was at work. So I went on my lunch break. There's a Best Buy right around the corner from where I worked at that day. And I went to the Best Buy, asked them, hey, do you guys have that, the new WrestleMania DVD that came out? Like, yeah, it's up there at the front. And I go up there, and they have 3 copies of the 3-disc DVD and 1 copy of the Steelbook. And I went, oh, boy, I had to make a decision. And I picked up my copy of the Steelbook. So, but
to basically go get, this is the Steelbook one. It's the cover is basically steel. The other edition comes with a Topps player card, and it's 3 discs long.
And we promise WWE is not paying us royalties or any rights to
not
give
at all.
away. We're just saying this.
First, a lot of people were like, "You were there live. Why did you buy the DVD?" And I was like, "Because I want to commemorate the."
I've been commemorating ever since I've been home. I got the AJ Styles plaque that's got the piece of the ring in it. It's only got 250 of them. I bought that. I've got a WrestleMania poster that I bought because I couldn't find any down there. I've got the WrestleMania DVD. I wish I could get WrestleMania side plates, but I don't know if I will. I may, just because of the fact that they look cool in my opinion. I have like 4 different WrestleMania shirts, the WrestleMania jersey. I'm bidding on somebody worked at WrestleMania Access and is selling their shirt and their hat. WWE, if you have anybody listening or watching this, stop with the snapbacks. Please. I hate them. Give me Velcro. I will much rather prefer Velcro than snapbacks. But one thing that made me upset was that the Access crew got Velcro hats, and the only ones they were selling at the Superstore or online were snapbacks. I just hate snapbacks. But I'm bidding on that. If there was a street banner sign that was going up for bidding, believe me, I'd be bidding on that too. So I don't know. It's just for the fact that I went to it. I feel like I had to collect so many things just because I went to it. If it was like a regular pay-per-view, I wouldn't be as big. I may still buy DVD and maybe the poster, but I'm not going to go all out and buy all that sort of stuff. So,
but I will say, unless you live in the UK, you only get the main card, which when I found that out was like, eh. The pre-show, and we get the Hall of Fame as well. I will say it's 2 discs long because the event was ungodly long. Not that I'm complaining. I would stay there for 15 hours and watch wrestling, but
no kidding.
The total runtime with the Hall of Fame on the U.S. edition is like 8.5 hours. So I mean, we got like 5.5 of like live action. But there's only so much space you could put on a single disc. So Roman Reigns match, and I don't know if they meant to do this or if they ran out of space, but Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker is the only match on disc 2, which is
probably because nobody wants to watch that, so they're just going to go straight to the Hall of Fame.
To the Hall of Fame, yeah.
They're just not going to watch that match. Never happened.
And then, I mean, other than that, yeah, go buy WrestleMania. It's the only DVD from WWE I would really consider buying, and it was basically because
don't just buy WrestleMania. Go to WrestleMania if you ever have the chance. Go to WrestleMania.
Yes. And I will say, just from being there, if it's outside and you're at Mania, don't buy tickets anywhere near lights or like the poles to hold the ring and the setup, because they will be. We had good seats. We were right under like the section. There was a section above us that like cut the sun down from us, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, we had from the very beginning. That was correct.
And then when we could see pretty much all the ring, nothing basically obstructing our view. And when you buy SmackDown or Raw tickets for after Mania, unless you really want to like be on TV, the crowd itself is good enough to pay for crappy tickets. So if you just want to go for the experience of being on a Raw or SmackDown after Mania, just buy the $50 ticket, sit up at the top, and enjoy the show.
You're going to have fun and no matter what, because that crowd is so amazing that you could be sitting off camera in the nosebleeds and still have a great time. So it doesn't matter really where you sit for Raw. It's obstruction view, yes, I would be careful with that because they do sell a lot more tickets, and especially those that are obstructed views. But for the crowd experience, it is just amazing.
And then I'm not even going to say if you do access. I said you got to do access.
More than one session too.
And yes, and don't, I mean, unless you just want to go there just to do sort of the fan experience, don't really care about autographs, which there's some fans who are like that. They don't care about autographs. If that's you, just buy a general admission. But I would say it's worth the price for VIP stuff, just so you can meet big names like Roman Reigns or no, Samoa Joe was a VIP when we were there. So definitely next time we go, VIP would be what I would consider.
Next time when we go, we're spending a lot more money on tickets, that's for sure.
Yeah. But for Mania itself, I would say where we sat, I'm not going to complain about where we sat. It was pretty good. I would say next time, definitely. The dream is ringside, or I don't really care about being ringside. I just like being by the stage on the floor.
Yeah.
Those are my dream seats. Just
I agree.
row one by the stage, so you can at least get a high five from.
Not row one for this year's WrestleMania, unless you're at the very bottom of it, because you could be row one halfway up the ramp, and it's like 15 feet ahead of you, and you're like looking up right to your neck to try to see them.
I mean, yeah, this is true, but
the longest stage I've ever seen in my life.
I will say it was actually really cool being at a WrestleMania where they spent more than $50 for the set.
Spent $5 million that thing, man. That's insane.
And they made it back, which is more insane. But I feel Orlando right now is really a hot spot for wrestling. There's a lot of Florida promotions going on down there. We got NXT, of course, sort of. And I felt if they didn't go all out, I wasn't really looking forward to the set because I knew in Dallas, their big selling point was being in Dallas and in that big arena with 100 and breaking the sort of seating attendance record was basically their main thing. That you can be part of history, but I mean that's there every year. And then the cheerleaders being there, which probably was the best show of that show. I don't talk about 32 that much. It really disappointed me. And I mean, I can't hate because the talent they had, well, they really had none. But
I just think that there was a lot of injuries and it just wasn't as good as it could have been. So
I was disappointed that we didn't get Rock, though, because that was one of the, at least for me.
Or Stone Cold, in my opinion.
And to me, I mean, the perfect way to build up because, I mean, you got WrestleMania April 3rd and then April 8th, the next Friday, Fast 8 came out. So to me, that could have been sort of like the perfect promo for the movie. Maybe The Rock didn't want to do it. Maybe he was busy doing other things, maybe finishing up Baywatch or something. But
there you
go. Which, again, we're not getting paid by any of these people.
Not at all. Nope.
Just I can go for the next 2 hours until I got to go to work, but so I guess I'll just ask this question: 1, is Triple H done? 2, when does he come back? And 3, who would you like to see him face if he comes back?
Okay, wait. So the first question was, is he done?
And then the second one is, if he's not done, when does he come back? And who does he face?
Okay, I have to kind of digest all this for a second. All right. No, I don't think Triple H is done. He's even said it in plenty of interviews and podcasts that it's a thrill rush anytime you get out there in front of that audience, WrestleMania or not. So While yes, he is taking his role as COO or whatever his job title is very seriously, and he's doing a great job at it, and he's really building up the WWE brand as a global brand and a very, 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 very big, awesome brand. But I think the schedule works out for him though, that he'll wrestle 2 or 3 times a year, 4 times maybe. He doesn't have to, because I think the talent we have now is fine. Half the time when he's not there, I forget that he was wrestling. So, and I think that he kind of prefers that way, because when he does come back, it makes a bigger impact. So I don't think he's done yet. I think he's still got couple more years left at least of performing at WrestleManias and stuff like that. When does he come back? I'll probably say Survivor Series. I don't think he'll come back at SummerSlam. I think there's enough cards stacked that he wants to focus on just SummerSlam. Survivor Series may need a little bit more uplift, so possibly Survivor Series. To set up for maybe a Rumble match, definitely a WrestleMania match. Who does he face? I can see plenty of options. I can see a Samoa Joe. Joe saying, I don't want to be used. I'm not your guinea pig. I want to fight you. I can see him versus Finn. Finn kind of doing a feud with Finn. I could see that. In my opinion, I think a match that should happen. I don't think it would happen this year. I hope it does happen before Triple H retires or whatever. I think it should be Bobby Roode versus Triple H. They look identical in a way. Their ring style is very similar. Both ring generals, very good psychology inside the ring, very good at putting matches together and just using amazing work. And Bobby Roode is as hot as he's ever been in pro wrestling. So what better way to kind of utilize that and having his buzz against Triple H. I don't know how they would be able to build that up. I'm not really going to go that far, but I feel like maybe not Bobby Roode this year. Like I said, maybe Finn, maybe Joe. That's really all I can see right now. But I would definitely one day like to see a Roode versus Triple H match for sure.
All right. So I too agree he's not done. I think he goes at least one more year. Even if he just does a WrestleMania match. I know we're used to him Survivor Series, doing a match and then doing one at Rumble, which really sets up his feud at Mania. For me, I felt in years past when he was on screen for months at a time, it sort of overweighted the rest of the talent. And just like I think with 15 Survivor Series when the Authority got kicked off. And so like they were gone for about a month or two. And
it was 14 when Sting came out.
It was 14. Okay, that's what I thought. All I know is my man Dolph Ziggler.
I was about to say Dolph was a sole survivor. So that was 14.
Won the match because he's the greatest. But I know when the Authority was sort of off screen, the product to me seemed at least to build a bit better. I would even say I think that was one of the downfalls with Raw was that Stephanie was constantly on the show. Now that she's gone, I think that's also what made SmackDown better at first was that we didn't have all the interaction between Commissioner and GM, where Daniel Bryan was more backstage. He really didn't have a part as much in the show. It was just sort of assumed he was running things. And so I feel if Triple H sort of stays off camera, maybe build Samoa Joe up a little bit at like a Survivor Series where he's just on screen to build Samoa Joe up. and then like you said, have him wrestle at Mania, or Rumble to set up Mania. Maybe not wrestle, but maybe like screw Joe over at Rumble, and then have Joe versus Triple H at Mania. I would like to see that. I don't really know many opponents who else right now that haven't wrestled him that I would like to see again. Like, to me, Randy Orton would be someone I would throw out there, but I mean, he's done it so many times, and with the history of those two, I don't know how they could build that up.
Yeah.
So I mean, new talent, I guess, they haven't wrestled him, like Finn, Samoa. I mean, you could call somebody else up, but maybe someone like Sami Zayn who sticks it to the head boss, say, I'm tired of this.
Almost like a Daniel Bryan type story.
Yeah. Where, and so, I mean, seeing that happen, maybe if it was Sami Zayn, do sort of a stipulation if Triple H beats Sami Zayn at WrestleMania, Sami Zayn has to leave. Though that might make it obvious that Sami would win. I mean, unless Sami really does leave. I mean, who knows? But I mean, I feel Triple H. I mean, over the he's one of the few remaining from at least my childhood that can still put on 1-2 great matches a year, and that's all we need from him.
Mm-hmm.
With Taker gone or supposed to be gone, I mean, there are still rumors out there he comes back. Which, if you guys still believe that, please just stop. He's not coming back. Just put that through your skull. And then second, one of the last things I guess that we can talk about is going back to Backlash. This Chicago crowd. My warning to you guys is please do not. I mean, it's going to happen, but don't make the CM Punk chants steal the show. Stephanie's done a great job in the past, sort of throwing the chants to try to control them. I know last time Raw was in Chicago, she said something along the lines of, at least I can last longer than 2 minutes or something like that.
It was pretty good.
And so I get it. He's from your hometown. You like CM Punk. We all like CM Punk, but eventually we got to understand that the talent. And it isn't like one of those chants. Like when they come to Charlotte, it's guaranteed Ric Flair, woo chants are going to break out. But that's something that doesn't distract.
It's like everywhere though. Like whenever before the show starts, people just go woo just in general.
And the chant itself doesn't, I think, take away from the show. Or even now, a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people, but some people I've seen on Twitter and stuff say stuff about how Dillinger's 10 chant sort of getting on their nerves with every time the ref would start a count, they would say 10. Well, that to me, that doesn't take away from the match. And it also shows support for Dillinger, who has put in 5 years of work on NXT.
Love me some time, man.
And even to me, even if he doesn't get a championship run before he leaves WWE, just the fact that he stayed for as long as he did and he finally found the gimmick that worked. Because if you think about it, 3 years ago, he was in a tag team with Jason Jordan. And I mean, the fact that both of them found something that works and are both on the SmackDown brand doing what they do best. To me, they started making Jason Jordan singles wrestler, but to me, he was always meant to be tag team. And where Dillinger sort of just fell off once they made him singles, and he couldn't find something. So I'm glad he found a gimmick, though. While it may not be the most
flamboyant,
it may not be like the most charismatic or and he may not draw as much of a crowd. I mean, he does get over. I mean, he did get the thing over, the gimmick over, and it's one of those things where the 10 chant may go on forever, even after he's done. So
yeah, I mean, I think compared to like the yes chant, one thing that does just irk me to death. I wish they would. I don't know if it'll ever get rid of that. I just hope it does. Is the what chant? It's so annoying. I hate the what chants so bad.
And I mean, it's annoying, I guess. I mean, once Stone Cold really, I mean, if Stone Cold was there, I can understand it, but
yeah, but I mean, after that, it's like, all right, just shut up, let him talk, whatever.
I feel there are a lot of chants in WWE that get annoying. But the CM Punk chant to me is number one. If he does come back, great. If he doesn't, I think we need to. At least I've already moved on from him. He was sort of big and he got real popular in the time of wrestling where I really didn't give much attention to it, so I didn't really watch him as much. But towards the end of his sort of tenure here before he walked away, 14, when he walked away at the Rumble, was really the last time I really like the first major exposure to him until I went back and watched promos and stuff he cut, and he was good on the mic and he was good in the ring, and while I understand what his complaints were, I think him walking away just showed that he didn't care about the fans. And so the fact that the fans continue to show support for someone who just said, screw you. I mean, I understand. Yes, I understand. It's mainly the Chicago crowds who do it because he's hometown, but no one's hometown ever does big chants like this. I'm basically saying get over it. Don't ruin the show for everyone else. I will be counting how many CM Punk chants there. I'm expecting somewhere between like 5 to 6 at Backlash and a few during Takeover. So
yeah, I could see that.
I don't know what else to talk about. So
I'll throw a couple last things in here. For one, everybody make sure you get your copy of DDP Yoga because it's good and great. It works. Yeah, just do that. Daniel Bryan, congratulations. I know you never probably ever see this. Nobody ever will show this really, but it's cool. Congratulations to him and Brie for their new baby gal, Betty Joe. Congratulations.
Which, what a name. You don't need a wrestling name now. You already got one. So
Betty Joe, exactly. So that's cool. Congratulations to them. I know that they're going to be great parents. They're really excited about it, and they already show how much love they have for it, and they got a great supporting cast with their family, so that'll be pretty cool. And
I mean, I guess I can ask you a question, and that just came to my mind with Daniel Bryan just having a child, and like 2 or 3 days after she was born, reports saying that after his WWE contract expires, he will still continue to wrestle. You think this is the smartest thing to do, or is it one of those things where you're like, you've had your run, just accept the backstage role at WWE, or do you think he should go to New Japan? Because that's a lot of where people think he's going.
This all really stems from the Benoit tragedy that happened, and I understand that. Which June of this year will be the 10th year anniversary that it happened. I respect WWE, and I understand their situation, where they're coming from, on why either they don't clear him or they won't clear him. It's tough as a performer to have that taken away from you because you didn't do it on your own terms. And I'm not a performer, so I don't know how he feels. I can only imagine how he feels and how he felt, knowing that he'll 95% chance to never wrestle in the WWE ever again. At the same time, you're a father now, you're a husband, you have a lot more priorities to do. WWE is not one of those places that sometimes they will just throw you away and just say, all right, you're done here. People like Corey Graves, Byron Saxton, Dan O'Brien, Kurt Angle, Mick Foley, they're a place that will give you opportunities elsewhere somehow. Whether being an ambassador for the company, doing something in the office, doing something behind the scenes, being a road agent, being a production crew member, setting up the ring, being a referee, backstage interviewer, pre-show panel, all sorts of stuff, general manager, commissioner. They do a good job at trying to give you something else to live off of and to enjoy the sport of it still, being around the boys, being around and being, traveling a little bit and just trying to still be relevant. So while it would be amazing for him to come back into the ring and it would be amazing for him to still wrestle, I don't think he should. He can do whatever he wants to. I know that plenty of doctors have said, or he says that plenty of doctors have cleared him. It's just the WWE doctors that haven't. My thing is that New Japan is so much more stiff than WWE is. And if he goes back to using those diving moves, the diving headbutt, the in between the ropes stuff, it's only going to get worse, in my opinion. Time does heal things, but I don't think that's something you really want to mess with, especially for the fact that you are a father now. And I would hate for them, unless he and his family moved to Japan, I don't think Bree would really appreciate that a whole lot because it is a newborn baby. So I think no, he shouldn't. And like I said, I love Daniel as a performer. He's a great person. Does a lot for people in general. But I just think for his health and safety and for the fact that now he is a father, I don't think he should anymore.
And I would basically say the same thing. Though it would be great to see him in the ring again. I mean, he is a true workman in the ring. From his time at ROH and other places. I mean, NXT when it was just starting. I mean, he was. I think revolutionary. I think in the fact that he was so over, but he didn't have what many saw as a WWE like body type. And so he was that underdog, and I think that's what drew me to him, was that he, I think, gave hope to a lot of people. And so for me to see him win at 30 and then have it taken away because of injury, I was mad because I felt a lot of that stemmed from how they booked him and how they constantly had Kane basically tombstone him. But at the same time, it was also his style. And I think with all the research we've done through the help of the NFL and stuff, with how concussions actually affect you, I don't think WWE wants any part in saying, oh yeah, we killed Daniel Bryan. And so I think it's better for him to not wrestle, though I still think he can compete. But like you said, Japan is a whole different ball game than WWE. It's more hardcore. There's I think the moves are stiffer. Everything is more geared towards, I think, wrestling than storyline.
Yeah.
And so for him to go over there, he'll accept. To me, it's not a question about whether or not he'd get over. He'd automatically get over from his debut at New Japan. But I think for his health and I think he put so much into thinking about, okay, I got to do this for the fans, that he forgot about himself and he forgot about family. And I understand that. Saying that and say he did hear it, I've never been in his position to where an injury kept me from doing something. And so I'm not going to say I know what it feels like, but at the same time, just looking at what research says and previous things that have happened in WWE and outside of it, in the business in general, I think WWE, I mean, put him on commentary with him and I think it was the cruiserweights him and Morrow did. He was tremendous on the mic, and so if they can build him to be like a GM of like the cruiserweight division or something, to where he can maybe commentate on 205 Live, and replace Tom Phillips, because no one wants Tom Phillips to do anything. But sorry, Tom. But I mean, there's other opportunities for him, and I think if he thinks about family, he's set in the WWE for life. He won't ever have to worry about it, about money, and then just the long-term effects of health. So, I mean, I know that's a hard topic. There's a lot of people who say, well, the WWE is just holding him back. But I think they're doing it for good reasons. Because I mean, to me, if he could wrestle, there would be no reason for WWE not to put him on. He would sell tickets like crazy. So, to them, I think at least to them understanding it from their business perspective, it's too much of a risk. And I think that's reasons why someone like Corey Graves isn't wrestling still. Whereas in the past, they would take you off TV for a little bit and then clear you again just for you to get concussions. And I feel it's important to have that discussion. I think WWE is doing a good job. I think they're leading sports and entertainment in terms of protecting people from concussions. Other sports like the NHL and stuff are leading that idea to bring concussion research to the forefront, to where head injuries aren't something to play with. I know ESPN was just talking about the MLB doing more after I forgot what pitcher it was on the Red Sox who threw intentionally at Machado's head like three pitches in a row, and whether or not there should be suspensions for it if it's intentional. And to me, they had Mark Teixeira talking about it, and he was saying like a 30-game suspension, which to me sounds fair enough, because getting hit in the head is not fun. It's happened to me before, but if it's different than being hit with a pitch in the leg, or because of what the brain is known to do and how crucial it is. And so and the NFL has shown what suspending players who target can do, and WWE is doing, I think, the best out of all of them, and protecting their assets as well as not taking risks. So I guess that's where I stand.
Yep. I think got just about everything else here. Can I just give a congratulations and welcome back to Kurt Angle? Been way too long since he's been back thank God he's back. It's great to see him back home in WWE. God, that was such a rush. Seeing him at the Hall of Fame, see him come back on Raw. Awesome. It's awesome having Kurt Angle back. I think he fits perfectly as the Raw GM. Hopefully, we'll see him get to be in the ring a couple more times before he fully has to retire. But it is really, really a awesome thing to see Kurt back in the WWE for sure.
And I will second that. Welcome back. Congrats on all that. I mean, it was fun to actually see you live. So yeah, that concludes the Concord Outlaws podcast. Thank you.
And go Chase Elliott Saturday night in Kansas. See what happens there. Hopefully that'll get win number 1 out the way.
And so yeah, again, thank you for watching the Concord Outlaws Wrestling Podcast. Go and like us on Facebook at this link. It's backwards.
Follow us on Twitter at Concord Outlaws, capital C, capital O for Concord and Outlaws. Social media page right there behind there. Definitely give us some feedback. Let us know how we did. I know this was a long podcast, but
yeah, it was. We'll be more organized next time.
When you don't do them for quite a while and you don't upload them and not edit them, part my fault, part his fault. You just talk about all sorts of stuff. But yeah, definitely give us some feedback. Definitely give us some suggestions. And then hopefully whenever we do one of these again, we'll have some Q&A, stuff like that, and do a little bit more interactive where we can get some feedback and stuff like that. So do appreciate anybody watching us and listening to us. And like I said, do definitely follow us on social media.
Yes. And again, this link is Facebook.com at Concord Outlaws Wrestling. Thanks again for watching. I'm going to try to do one again after Backlash. Try to have all 5 of us on here. But yeah, thanks again.